This is the Rolanda Show, and I'm so excited about our next guest, Jack Canfield. You know him, the author of Chicken Soup for the Soul, and boy, has that become a publishing phenomena. More than 120 books, 11 of them #1 on the New York Times bestseller list. And Jack Canfield, I am so happy to have you here on the Rolanda Show. Welcome.
My pleasure, Rhonda. Thank you for having me.
You know, I first saw you at the Agape Church.
Yes.
And you were speaking about financial wealth, and I was so inspired by your stories. I mean, there's no question that stories can change a life.
No, it's true. I learned that first speaking in an all-black inner-city high school. I taught there for 2 years, and the only thing that ever really got anyone's attention when I was telling true stories, and then they would be inspired by them and want to, be motivated to achieve more, and that was really the beginning of my career as a motivational speaker and later a psychological trainer for success.
That's right. A good story sells. A good story. That's it. What have you? How did all of this begin? You have become so huge, and you are. And listen, I'm trying to study your art of branding. Please, I'm reading Branding for Dummies, which is another successful series of books.
It's true.
But I just want to know, how did you do it? How did it start? And how did you get people to believe in you?
Well, it really started out quite accidentally. I was going around giving talks and seminars, and people would come up after the end of them and say, that story you told about the puppy or the Girl Scout or the Boy Scout or whatever, they'd say, is that in the book anywhere? I'd say no, and they'd say, well, my daughter needs to read it or my son needs to read it. And I'd say, well, that's nice. And one day I'm coming home on the plane, and I thought, the world's telling me put these stories in a book. I'm stupid here, So I outlined all the stories I knew on the way home, or at least put down the names of, possible titles. And I had about 69 stories. And then I met Mark. We were friends, but I met him again at a conference, and he asked me what I was doing. I told him I was putting together a book of stories. He said, I want to do it with you. So that's how we teamed up. And most people don't know the story, Rolanda, but that first book was rejected by 144 publishers.
That is, wait, whoa. Now, and first of all, the book is like gold today. I mean,
right.
You don't reject Chicken Soup.
Right.
So why? Did they just think it was too corny, or did they think that we wouldn't be touched by these stories?
Well, I think initially they said nobody buys books of short stories, and this is true in the world of fictional short stories, but these were all true, nonfiction stories. And so they didn't have any reference point for what this was. And Mark and I were out giving speeches, getting standing ovations, and people were crying and getting goosebumps. So we knew the stories would work. Mm-hmm. But there was a fear in New York, to try something new. And actually, it took us 1.5 years to sell the book. We eventually took it down to a little publisher in Florida who said they would publish it with no advance, thought they'd sell 20,000 copies. And we told them our goal is $1.5 million in 1.5 years. And I don't know if you've ever shared a goal with someone and they laughed out loud at you. But
yeah, a lot of times.
Our publisher literally laughed out loud. And he said, you guys are crazy. We said, no, we're entrepreneurial and we're optimistic and we're going to work hard. And we did. And I think the reason it became a brand is because something has to have a repetitive value over and over. And after about the 5th or 6th book, because we put in the back of the book, if you have a story, send it in, maybe we'll do a sequel. And pretty soon we were getting 500 stories a day in the mail. Everybody has a story. No one knows where to send it. So, as you said, now we have 125 books. And after a while, it became kind of a household word associated with ethics and values and caring and love and family.
And integrity.
Integrity and caring.
Hey, you know something? I haven't heard those words in a long time, Jack.
It's really true, We just came out with a new book, or actually we're coming out with a book in August called Chicken Soup for the Child's Soul.
Oh, wonderful.
And it's really a read-along book for parents, for moms and dads to read to their kids that are 8 to 12. And all of the stories deal with those kind of themes of loyalty and friendship and honesty and integrity and so forth. So it's our attempt to, again, use stories to get the kids to develop character.
So many chicken soups. I mean, and what is your favorite one, Jack?
Favorite book?
Yeah.
I still have to say it's the first book, Chicken Soup for the Soul, and then probably secondly would be Chicken Soup for the Teacher's Soul, and thirdly would be Chicken Soup for the Writer's Soul, because I used to be a teacher and I am a writer. So those books, and then Entrepreneurial Soul, which is the one that came out last year because I'm also an entrepreneur. I feel close
you think? I'm going to be reading that book, too. We'll be right back with Jack Canfield with Chicken Soup for the Soul and a scoop from his latest book right after this.